Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another Greater DAOR webinar. Today's webinar is the Cloud Agent series. I really want to do a little overview and kind of dive into 3 benefits that integrate very well with each other. That's going to be Cloud CMA, Cloud MLX, and Cloud Streams. You pass them every single time you go over the Realtor portal. The Cloud CMA integrates directly into the MLS. I am going to allocate a couple more minutes to allow people to log in and get logged into that Realtor portal as well. All right, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me this morning for the Cloud Agent series webinar. My name is Joey Salinas. I'm going to be your instructor today. Hopefully everyone's doing well this Friday morning. As always, before we start any benefit, making sure we are logging into the greaterdaor.com to get caught up with all news and information. If you want additional webinar classes, you can always click on the blue banner and that'll take you there. We're going to go ahead and go into our member login, the MLS login, to take us to our dashboard. So I always found myself passing over a lot of these Cloud Agent series, and they all look the same, a little bit of a different color, and they all integrate very well. So we can see Cloud CMA creates stunning reports in just minutes. Cloud CMA is going to be a really nice CMA. You can even send a PDF, but not just that, it'll actually do a presentation for you. So you can send the link to that presentation, and it'll kind of set up like a presentation view of the actual CMA, and I'll take you through that. This Cloud CMA actually gives you more power and more control of what you're putting in the CMA, as well as branding, template, and layout. So it's really amazing. We have the Cloud MLX, which is just a simple MLS search. It really helps when you are trying to go into the MLS and just pull up properties with simple tags such as 2 bedrooms, active, as opposed to going into the actual MLS and kind of going through that whole form. This Cloud MLX is going to be a little bit more streamlined. As always, if you want to look at a property either for yourself or for a client or a specific area, we can always put them on a cloud stream, which will send direct emails to them to let them know exactly updates of a particular area, of particular houses. So we're going to go ahead and go into the Cloud MLX first. So this is the Cloud MLX. As you see, it says search your MLS. And we can search by address, the MLS number, city, zip, status, price, agent name, pretty much anything. We also have the ability to go into a map view. And we can start typing things right here as well. From this map view, I can go into the many advanced search properties. So I have like the property type. I even have a property subtype, the status, how many days off market, specific price or square footage, and we can also select other features if we wanted to. But we see that they came up and prompted as these little tags. And we're going to go ahead and view those results now. And we see how this pops up. Now, from just this search, and I know this is a pretty broad search, but we see we have the ability to name this search, and that would save this actual search. Now, additionally, we can always remove something by clicking on one of those bubbles. So we have that option of making those small little tags. So if we go somewhere such as Whittier, and it defines specific areas, but we can go into Whittier. I'm going to type in active. We even see I have active under contract. I'll do 3 beds. So you see I'm doing little simple tags to actually build up and prompting a whole list onto the MLS. And this is a CRMLS benefit, so this is directly tied into the MLS. It's going to be the same information that's going to prompt if you were to do more specific of a search on the MLS matrix. So this kind of just streamlines the approach. Whittier active, 3 beds. And we can see the information. We can see it on the map to the right. As always, we can go into those advanced settings. We can change how we're seeing that information, as well as whether we're going to picture view or just straight to list view. Now we could easily name this search, and naming this search will save this for us. So whether this is going to be my Whittier new client. So that's saved just that way. And now we see if I click the more actions, I can view this search as a client. So when I set this up as an actual stream for them, I can see how they're going to view this information. Right? I can copy the link to this search so that I can send this, email this link to this specific search. I can print either of those views if I want to present them as a paper. And as we see, I can make this a cloud stream. Now, I'm not going to go quite into that yet because I want to show you what happens when you actually pull up some of this information. So we'll click onto a property. Right, and these are some things that your client is going to see when they get this information or they get this update in their actual inbox in the cloud stream. They get a little description. Similarly, those more actions, so you can view the listing as a client. So we'll see what they will see, but we'll go back to the agent view so you can see. I just wanted to show you those more actions, right? You can make a CMA report. We can start building a CMA from this property. We can make property reports specific to every single property or make property flyers as well in Cloud CMA. I know there's a lot going on, so if there are some specific questions, feel free to hit them in the chat. There is a lot to do on these 3 platforms, so I just want to give you guys the tools and incentives to come in and kind of play with it. We see some highlights, some showing information, the agent, their contact information. This all comes directly from the CRMLS. If you look up your listing, you'll see similarly this information, details, and any history. We can do the MLS number to take us right into it and when that was last updated. We can add this to a collection. So if we want to start building a specific collection for a specific client with different properties, we can. We do see photos. Now I will view this listing as a client so that the client sees the photos, the client sees the price, the description, the highlights, and the details, and some history. I'm going to go back because we can make any of these CMAs, as always, clicking on the More Actions button. We can do cloud streams of this specific search. Now I am going to jump gears here and go into Cloud CMA. Now the Cloud CMA, as you see, we can build different reports that we start doing. We can view these reports live, right? So let's view it live. And this will be the link that you would send that will be like this kind of presentation of the actual CMA. So this is what you'll be sending your client, and it's branded to yourself. I've uploaded this photo, all of my logos, and we see that I have this kind of interactive CMA, if you will. See, this is prepared for my client with their address, gives them what is a CMA, the comps that I found. If they click into it, they can see the different comps that I found. So this is a really neat feature to kind of just send through. They can go through and they can play with this. And they can go through on the side and go through. Now, additionally, I can always customize this because I am the creator of this. But also, a really neat feature is if I wanted to show this on other platforms, I have that ability. See, I can start a virtual meeting right from Zoom. I can link Zoom, Skype, Hangouts. So that's really neat for a lot of these presentations right now that you need to do virtually. You can easily jump into one of those meetings from here. So you can pull up this presentation yourself if you don't want to send the link and you kind of want to just have the power of going through the virtual information. If you don't want to do the virtual route, we can always just view it as the PDF. And we can print the PDF, send the PDF, however you like. It's that same information, all branded to myself. I have full control of the information that is on here. Right, all my contact information. I control what I want to put, whether I want the summary of comparable properties, what kind of photos, how many photos I want, the type of layout. Now I am going to show you that I can easily come into the CMA before we actually build one from the matrix, any property. So I just did a simple search of Whittier and I found an active property, and we see along at the bottom, I have the option Cloud CMA. This will always take me into that Cloud CMA and start building that CMA for that property. So we see that it pulled that MLS number from that property that we viewed in the matrix to start building that CMA. You can also build a CMA from any search on Cloud MLX. There are additional options such as buyer tours that you can do. You can do property reports. You can do property flyers. There's a lot of great information and resources in here and templates to use. Now we would easily just create a CMA report. And we'll name the report whatever our client is. Any private notes that we want, the subject property. any of this information. We don't need to put this information particularly. We can select just the residential or any subtype or advanced info. But then how do you want to get comparative listings? So we see it's still saved that MLS number that we pulled from the matrix, just in case, even though I closed that browser. If I don't want it, I can just erase it, or I can always add, or I have this quick and dirty method, right, by proximity. So automatically find listings near the subject property. Want them to get at least 10 and they can go back 6 months. I have more criteria options if I want to have specific beds. And specific baths. And then all that we would do is select fetch listings. And let this load just for a bit. And now we see all of those subject properties that pulled around, or excuse me, all of the properties that pulled around my subject property. Now it's asking me to set the price because it doesn't have that information. But we see that I have the summary of listings, how many are active, active under contract, or sold. And I can just hover over one and click one and I'll see the actual property. And if I click onto it, it'll pull me into that cloud MLX kind of information. I can see the different listings and whether I want to include all or exclude all, but I can come through and see details and adjustments. So I see a little description, the price, and some basic information. And if I want to use it, I'll keep it in green. If I don't want to use it, I will not select it. Right, so fantastic. And then we see a summary of prices from low to high. We can always add a listing, but we're going to go into customize the report. And now we see we have many different options to come into your CMA report that you get to actually put the content. So you can add additional content, such as agent resumes, your company, more photos or adjustments. You can control all of this information. There are premium features that you can purchase, right? CMAs are for buyers too, emotional triggers for home buyers, choosing your real estate professional. You have Tom Ferry pages like thank yous. And this is the information that's going to be in the actual CMA. At any time, if you don't want that information, you can just remove it. For instance, this analysis chapter, we'll go ahead and remove that. Now we get to select the theme. And there are many options, people. Not just color options, many options to go through, from actual organizations, actual offices, right? Troop Real Estate, Berkshire Hathaway. You go through here, you'll see the colors. Remax, many Keller Williams, many different colors. You get to choose the layout, whether you want the photos with a map, just 2 photos, photos with as much data as possible, the 2-column comparison that you saw on the one that I pulled up, which I liked because it was kind of a little bit less jam-packed. That was already 37 pages. This one's a little bit better considering that there's not 37 pages. So as always, guys, so a lot of control right in here, right? The 3-column comparison or 4-column comparison. You also have the template if you want additional templates that you want to put in here, right? Buyer CMA, comps only, all pages, appraisers report, really anything you want, because you can select customs and put any information in here. Whether you want a cover and the font, right? So you get to control everything that's pretty much going into here. It's very neat. Once you have all that information, you're going to go ahead and publish that report. And now we see we have that new client, and we can view how all of that information will be. If we want to change any information in that report, we're going to go ahead and go into that top little silhouette of us. To the top right is our account settings. This is where we're also going to see our custom pages, as well as lead generation for these links to come in for property viewings if you want to set that up. But if we go into account settings, you can control the information right in your profile, your contact info, your password, the MLS credentials, any custom pages you want or integrations. So make sure all of that information is up to date and relevant, because that will appear on the actual branded CMA. You can always email these, as I said, the link or copy the links. Additionally, finally, is the cloud streams, which the cloud streams is basically going to be different areas that you keep watches on. So I have like Whittier homes. This is a Whittier residential search, but I have La Habra Heights with 2 beds, 1 bath. And then I have a Whittier 2-bedroom search. And we see that I have people attributed to this actual stream, so that every time I come into a stream, it's just a Cloud MLX search, as you see. Whittier homes on Cloud MLX. And every time there is new information or a new home, a new property on the MLS that fits all the criteria in this search, I get alerted. And I get to choose the type of alert. So I get to choose whether I want it automatically to go to my clients, so the listing is going to go to all of them, or whether I want to curate the ones that go through. So they're going to come to me first into my email, and I'm going to have the ability to either approve or decline them getting sent to my client. And that goes for all searches. You see, you can do any searches in Cloud MLX. Now I have a couple of people on these alerts. So I have curated alerts, we see. So they come to me on a daily basis. I get an email that shows any new properties that came onto the MLS. And it's curated, so they come to me first before I send it to them. And they get their recommendations. And I can add any clients right here. It's as simple as just a full name and an email. Doesn't have to even be a full name. I just have first names. That's all you need to add a client. It's not as invasive as downloading an app or anything. You're just setting up their email and giving them a stream. Now, if you want your clients to be able to create their own streams, then you're going to go to the clients and do an add client. So when you add a client from here, they now have the ability to start creating their own streams. And because these are fake accounts that I've created, they don't have any actual streams yet, but I would be able to see all of that client's activity on Cloud MLX, because that's where they would start creating the stream, right? These all link together. So though they wouldn't have the power to particularly create as a compelling CMA as you, they do have that option to create a CMA. It's a very streamlined approach for them, so that they can see properties around their subject property that they're looking at. But your client's going to get all 3 of these by sending them any link, whether you send them a link to Cloud MLX, whether you send them the link to the CMA, not the presentation, that's just to the presentation, but to the cloud stream, they're going to get access to this MLX. I would be able to see any streams that they set up. So I can see the stream he's in, any properties that they liked, any properties that they have recommended. And I see all that activity right here. And I'm creating streams right from the Cloud MLX. Here we go, this Whittier new client. I can make this a cloud stream. Now this is a stream of mine right here. And my clients are going to see things like price reduced. I can add additional filters before I actually save this stream between property types. Any price range, I have the beds and bath range. And then we'll just hit save stream. And remember, we can build any stream or any CMA directly off of the matrix for any property. Now I'm going to name this stream, right? My Whittier homes for my new client. And then I'm going to select which one I want, whether I want the curated or the automatic. Here are my alerts. They're going to be in real time, which means that the minute that a property goes onto the MLS that fits these criteria, it's going to get sent to me. Daily, weekly, or I can never have an email and it'll just be a notification when I come into the actual stream. I have the ability to real-time text or to never text as an alert feature on here. Now, if you set this up to real-time text, then when they come on to a stream, it's no longer just going to be their email that you need. You're going to need their phone number. So if you're able to get that information and you're comfortable with asking that for people for that stream, something that I thought was a little bit more streamlined just because you need the email and less invasive, that is an option. And you just add the clients that way. I am going to go ahead and exit out of that so I don't save it as a particular stream, but I just wanted you to see that that is an option. Guys, that's pretty much a little bit of the overview for that Cloud Agent series. Hopefully you learned something and you come in onto the CMA or Cloud MLX or the Cloud Streams and really be able to kind of just play with it and see how much you're actually able to do on it. I'll definitely open this up for any specific questions if you do have them on these any of these Cloud Agent series products. I really enjoy that Cloud MLX search. It's a little bit more simple and streamlined as opposed to coming to the matrix. Let's face it, when we come to the matrix and we really do want to do a search, I guess the best way is quick search, but this form still is pretty large, and all of this information you can find. We can search up a parcel number on that Cloud MLX. We can search up just by price. All of this information on here by a city or MLS area. So we have all of this that we can do on that Cloud MLX search. Square footage that we can do. There's so much information on there. Any of this information that we see and we go into, we can set up, pull up a CMA of a property. So a lot going on in here, guys. As always, make sure you have a greater DAOR day. My name was Joey, and it's been a pleasure. I will see you guys next week.